While the main story of Midnight leaves a lot to be desired, what has absolutely enthralled me is its endgame.
Your life is mine.
In a lot of ways, it shows the key design principles guiding modern World of Warcraft in the best light: iteration and adding onto the base established with Dragonflight. In today's video, I want to go over the various endgame systems that Midnight has to offer and how I've had so much to do and Season 1 hasn't even gone live yet. Hello everybody, it's your boy Jmulls, and let's talk about the new kid on the block. The new endgame system Midnight offers, Prey. This system is absolutely brilliant. Okay, it's a little bit iffy on execution, but it's such a welcome addition to the open world while taking the modern story into a potentially awesome direction. Let's get into what makes Prey so dang good. So mechanically, it's very simple. It's a bounty system. You pick a target based on the zone and difficulty of the hunt you wish to go on. We have access to normal and hard mode, with an even more difficult mode coming down the line. You then go to the zone of your prey and engage in world content, including some additional world quests based on your prey to lure them out of hiding. During your hunt, your prey has the chance to gank you, and it seems the AI is rather smart, but also kind of predictable. Generally, if I'm getting into a particularly difficult encounter, like an elite or something during a world quest, if I haven't encountered my prey in a while, that's when they tend to ambush me. Same with if I'm fighting a large pack of mobs. Each prey has a couple simple mechanics, but mechanics that feel right based on their design and kit. If you fight a hunter, they'll use hunter gadgets and abilities. If you're fighting a mage, look out for pyroblasts, because they will hurt you if you don't interrupt them. And over the course of clearing the zone of world quests or doing treasures or whatever, you'll gradually reveal the location of your prey more and more. And on hard mode, you get additional difficulty modifiers that are supposed to make you take more damage incrementally. I never really noticed it, but to be fair, I'm also on Hunter, so my pet can handle it, right? You can also use your debuff stacks to channel into anguish orbs found throughout the zone in order to fight a little anguish mob or a slightly bigger one to get more progress towards your hunt. Some of the prey-specific world quests are rather straightforward, like kill some mobs to lure them out. Others involve you finding your prey, recuperating or resting, and you engage in chasing them down. This one kinda sucks because they move so slowly and you can easily get speed buffs, so you just awkwardly run around in circles and charge through them till the quest is done. Neat idea, the execution is very clunky, let's say, and that's putting it kindly. At some point though, Astalor, we'll get to him, will tell you that the location of your target has been determined, and it's time for a big final showdown. And at least with normal and hard right now, even the gear available pre-season 1 is enough to make these fights a bit of a cakewalk. I don't want to render final judgments on these yet because, as I said before, there's going to be another difficulty level introduced at some point, but I do expect, regardless, at some point, gear will just stomp all of these, and that's probably by design. But the fights themselves are still okay. Again, nothing particularly complicated or hard, just the theme of fighting some named NPC is really nice, and they lean into it. Prey may sound a bit lacking by itself, but this to me is where it really shines. It's not a system meant to be taken on exclusively by itself. It's supplementary to your overworld activities. Got something to do like a soiree in Eversong? Well, pick up a prey hunt for Eversong and then bang out 2 birds with 1 anguish crystal. Prey works best when you do it alongside other stuff, and that's a phenomenal role for it. To me, it doesn't really overstay its welcome unless you're fresh out of world quests because they haven't spawned recently, and it's something to keep track of in the open world besides just flying from point A to B all the time. It doesn't completely revolutionize anything, but it also doesn't really need to. I like the idea of the risk-reward play. It punishes you, on hard mode at least, for dying by losing progress. Now granted, it's only hard mode, and with the gear I currently have, again, season 1 isn't even out yet, we're gonna get a lot stronger, I'm just not dying. But I like the idea behind it, and I'm hopeful that the harder mode will breathe some life into the risk elements that are supposed to be at play here. But the other element to Prey, and arguably the reason I love it so much, isn't just the gameplay. It's the theme of it and the story. Yeah, there's an actual plot to this. So the main face of Prey is your go-to guy, Astalor Bloodsworn. This guy is Edge incarnate, and I love him. He is unironically the character I'm most interested in with Midnight, and probably since like Denathrius and Shadowlands. Sure, his voice sounds like a VTuber trying to do a deep gravelly voice, but I think it works for him.
Anguish still lingers on you.
World of Warcraft is often at its best when it leans into cheesy characters like this. The whole idea is that he's trying to find an alternate power source for the Blood Elves, so they aren't too reliant on the Sunwell, because it's not like being overly reliant on any one thing has burned the Blood Elves before, right? So he's researching this power source known as Anguish. I'm not sure about the lore behind it, but think of it something akin to like Anima from Shadowlands, because he believes after we extract it from our prey, we can use Anguish in some shape or form to power up the Blood Elves, even if some sacrifices or some aggression is inserted into the picture. Blizzard, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, don't turn this dude into a villain. This is awesome. This is the exact feeling I've been missing from the Blood Elves, especially with the rest of Midnight.
Baladash, Malanore.
Aggression, a minor side effect, but the power granted is undeniable.
Experimenting with dangerous magics, but magics that have so much potential if harvested and utilized correctly that also look cool. The blood red color scheme everywhere in his hideout is absolutely mwah. And after every few prey hunts, you'll get a brief interlude quest of him, and you experimenting with Anguish, from trying to heal blood elves succumbing to void, just buffing them, etc. And while some exhibit signs of aggression and going too far with dosing on Anguish, Astalor assures you that in moderation, all of this is fine. And like I said before, for the love of God, don't turn him and this whole Anguish angle into a villain plotline. I would love for this stuff to pan out. This is the kind of grit and texture that I feel is eroded away from this game for so long. And I think this is an excellent way to reintroduce it into the equation, especially for an expansion centered on the Blood Elves. This is the rule of cool stuff I keep hopping on about for so long that World of Warcraft has just been lacking in, and it's handled in a way that fits, works, and is compelling. It's great stuff. Astalor is a big, over-the-top, lovable character. He almost has this air of like a vampire lord about him, kind of like the feeling some like Venthia characters had back in Shadowlands. But as a blood elf, it just works, man. It just works. I'm more engaged with his plotline than I am with the main story of Shadowlands. That's not particularly odd. I meant Midnight, though. Now for another part of the open world, the events.
I'm ever a fan of dramatics.
Okay, so it's a very similar system conceptually to what the War Within brought to the table. Each zone has their own event. Eversong has a soiree, Zulaman has abundance, even though that one takes to all the zones anyways. Harundar has you diving into paintings to learn about big figures in the history of the Haranir, and Voidstorm has a tower defense mode starring the Void Elves. They are varied, generally all compelling to some degree, and somewhat fun, except for Abundance. We'll get to that one. And honestly, I like them. The main reason I like events like these is because they are varied and give you something different to do than just regular world quests. Or even if they end up just being world quests anyways, like the soiree, there's something interesting, a nice little twist to them. And if you really don't like a mode or two, you can just ignore them if you don't care about the rewards. For instance, if I just don't like Abundance because it's trash, I can just do something else for my weekly caches if I just can't be bothered doing it. That flexibility is something that's been baked into the endgame of WoW for a while now, and I personally love the direction, and I'm glad that Blizzard is simply iterating and adding on to this idea coming from the War Within. The soiree is held by that one party bro Blood Elf in Eversong. If you leveled a Blood Elf back in the day, you probably remember this guy. He invites 4 main Silvermoon factions to the soiree each week: the Magisters, Blood Knights, Farstriders, and Murder Row.
Oh, and the invitation addressed to Murder Row is not a mistake. I'm ever a fan of dramatics.
It's meant to be this very, like, upscaled, high society, well, party, and you pick which faction basically gains your favor, and you get a weekly quest associated with that faction, and depending on the choice, you might get an extra coin. See, you have 3 baseline coins each week, 4 if you choose a faction offering an extra one, and with these coins, you can give them to any faction regardless of your choice from before for an extra world quest, giving you reputation with them. Think of the reputation system from Aj Kahet in Undermine here, but here it's for the Magisters, Farstriders, Blood Knights, and Murder Row. Each coin that you give gives you access to another quest, but depending on what faction you chose overall, remember, this is high society filled with drama and intrigue totally. So the Magisters might not like it if you cozy up to Murder Row, or maybe if you cozy up to the Farstriders, the Magisters might take offense to that, and you can lose reputation with that other faction. So it's a game of plus and minuses. I like the little management this provides. Gives a little bit of texture, which is something I think World of Warcraft has like largely been missing. Even if right now I'm just focusing on Farstriders and Blood Knights because, well, I like their rewards. And if I lose rep with Magisters and Murder Row, I don't have any to really begin with, so I don't mind. Leveling those other 2 factions will be a future me issue. There can also be a bonus event in the SWAT 8 where you basically just clean up. It's basically just click and fill the bar, nothing to really write home about. But if you pick up an Eversong Prey to do alongside these world quests, all of a sudden you've become quite busy. This is what I like so much about the Prey system and these systems interacting, mixing things up. And maybe I also want to stop by the Abundance event held in Eversong. Well, I mean, I don't because Abundance sucks, but it is available to break things up. Now, my main issue with the SWAT A is that the event itself, yeah, it looks like a party, but you're not really interacting with it. I feel as if Blizzard were kind of burned by the Venthia system back in Shadowlands, so maybe they didn't want to like fully engage with the bit here, but I would have liked it if it felt like we were actively participating in the party, at least to some degree. Maybe not to the same degree as the Venthia stuff from before, but still, would have been nice.
Come and be blessed by my abundance.
Okay, let's talk about Abundance. The Loa of Abundance has you go into a cave in each of the zones, kill mobs, mine nodes, skin dead mobs, whatever, and they explode in abundance that you pick up and you drop off at an altar. There's a stacking buff that like increases your pickup radius and also movement speed. It's honestly just really dull and becomes a mob grind. I don't like it at all, and it falls in the same category as like Awakening the Machine for me. I'll probably put up with it to get the rewards and rep because it's me, but when I don't feel like doing it, I won't mind procrastinating this one. Let's move on to an actually interesting event. The Harinail one. Yeah, that's something I never thought I was going to say. Their whole thing is that they have this series of like artifacts, but you need to find the story behind them and learn about their history because why not, I guess? Not like we have anything better to do. So you pick an artifact, and from what I gather, it's a set order. Then you go find the painting or mural, follow your map, and then you follow the story of a supposed notable Harinail of history. It's nothing too big or fancy. The one I had available only took a few minutes, gave a very small and condensed story, and was largely inoffensive. Mechanically, it's not the most thrilling thing ever. It had a brief like stealth section in it, I guess, but I don't know, I kind of like the idea of an event like this. I just wished it was attached to like the Amani instead, and we learned more of their history instead of the freaking Harinail that I just simply don't care about at all. Well, besides the fact that they annoy Night Elf players and Alliance overall, so maybe it's a win-win. Perhaps I judged you too harshly. The Voidstorm Assault event is cool. A bit taxing, sure. It's a tower defense inspired mode where you and other players spend a currency, we have a lot of those nowadays, to construct various installations to hold off waves and waves of devouring hosts, while the Void Elves do their thing. In a way, it feels like a more focused version of the Nightfall event from 11.1.5, and it's fine, don't get me wrong, just not something I'm overly eager to do 10 to 100 times over during the course of Midnight. To their credit, they try and build up the waves over time to do a feeling of it becoming more and more threatening, but it's still world content, and with a bunch of other people, things just kind of die, and I feel like I spend more time focusing on some side activities they offer alongside the main event than the actual assault itself, and those are just basic quests that are more distracting than anything. I wouldn't call the events introduced with Midnight like groundbreaking or revolutionary. They're not going to be something that gets you out of bed in the morning happy to exist another day because you can do abundance. right? Like, it's nothing like that. But they offer a bit of variety when taken alongside Prey, kind of okay. And when you're doing regular world quests, I kind of like having a bunch of different things to do. That's what this offers. It's an extension of the gameplay loop we had in The War Within. If you don't like it, it's more of that. If you do like it like I do, then we're vibing. The soiree, though, is easily my favorite.
I like being me.
The other big addition with Midnight is the Arcanum, a tavern in a different dimension that heroes of Azeroth can head to distract themselves for a time. And for some reason, we were only just invited, but okay, sure, whatever. The Arcanum is very simple and straightforward, and easily ignorable if what I'm about to say doesn't appeal to you. You get a quest or two every now and then to engage with some characters and some small stories, and you get housing decor for your trouble. And you can also put up trophies from these quests in the Arcanum itself. For instance, remember the Blood Elf and Dwarf Paladins from the Cataclysm Eastern Plaguelands? You can catch up with them here. They give you a brief quest that takes you into ICC, and as a big fan of the Eastern Plaguelands zone back in the day, that's nice. It's something you won't be focusing a ton of time into if you're anything like me, and if you just want to break the pace of the game up a bit and go back to some old world zones just for a minute, that's what the Arcanum provides. It's a niche role, but I'm glad it exists. That kind of explains their overall guiding philosophy with World of Warcraft when it comes to like non-main endgame pieces of content. It's a bunch of different niche things where if you want to do them all, you'll be putting in some serious time and hours. But if you want to take them like piece by piece and only focus on the ones you want to do, they're not going to take you that long to actually fulfill. And honestly, I'm glad it exists. Like I said, if you don't like it and you don't care about the core, you can just ignore them, or you can use it to get back to Silvermoon. Yeah, they keep changing how the teleport works. As of the time of this recording, it takes you back to Silvermoon. Now, Season 1 isn't out yet, but you can do regular delves in Mythic 0. They're fine. Like, I like the dungeons that I've done in Midnight. I need more time with the delves, but I like Valera. But a lot of those endgame systems won't properly come online till Season 1 actually starts. But I will say, all the side quests that I've done so far have been absolutely stellar. And alongside everything else we've talked about in this video, I've been enjoying Midnight a ton. And if you want a really cool side quest to do, after beating the Zulaman story campaign, go back to Zuljara and she'll send you to the area of the map based on the old Zulaman raid and dungeon. That quest is so dang fun and it's full of throwbacks. Highly recommend it. There are two other elements that I think are worth mentioning here. In the Void Storm, you have this Void Research. As you can see, it is a very minor talent trait to give you power-ups for the Void Storm zone. You also can get a trinket from this guy that allows you to proc these Void Research nodes in combat. So a little bit of extra motivation instead of it just being locked to the Void Storm. So the first one you get is Amassing Void Lust. Harness the violent energy that permeates the Void Storm, occasionally triggering a powerful suffusion of cosmic energy. When embraced, the energy erupts in a state called Void Lust, and it gives you some stats and movement speed. You can increase the frequency or the intensity, the duration. You can have the Void Elves establish various camps and then rest at them, make defense points around the zone, and the final thing is Wings of the Void. Use the research console to manifest a powerful mount that'll accompany you in your adventures throughout Void Storm and beyond. Very simple stuff, but it's a nice little bit of flavor, and this will go into a video that I make down the line in like a week or so. I think it's part of Blizzard's attempt to try and reintegrate RPG elements into the retail WoW experience. I don't think the execution is going to like move the needle for anybody, but I appreciate the attempt. And I think it's another example of them trying to move this game in a better direction. I will say, as I'm going to Zulaman to show you all another thing I'm kind of talking about when it comes to them like reintegrating RPG elements into this game, I will say a major missed opportunity were the flying races. They were so much fun. I know not everyone was into them, but I was. I thought they were a ton of fun. I love doing them every now and then. It's like dragon riding, now sky riding is a really fun mechanic by itself, and I really like the sky riding races that force you to fly in like, well, a race, but also parts of the zone you wouldn't ordinarily fly in certain ways in. I thought it was a very nice addition with the War Within and Dragonflight, and it's just like not here. Maybe it'll come at some point, but I miss them, absolutely. Now, this one is easy to miss. It's in Zulaman in the Amanizar village. Like behind this building is a Loa altar where you can worship the Loa and they give you various bonuses for the Zulaman zone depending upon what Loa you pick. You have your 4 main ones, Akilzan, Halazi, Janalai, and Nalarak, but you also have these more minor Loa. So you pick one major one and one minor Loa, and like combined, they give you a different effect. So I have Akilzan, and I also have Chandra, the Loa of spiders. I guess subterfuge as well. And by having this pairing specifically, I get this bonus. While in combat, the Loas of victory and subterfuge increase your haste by 1% every second up to 15%, and it decreases while out of combat. You unlock these minor Loa by doing various side quest chains throughout Zulaman. So I've unlocked 3 so far: the Loa of Children, the Loa of Subterfuge, and the Loa of Travelers. And these effects really vary depending upon like what you get and also what you do. If instead of Akilzan, I go to like Janalai, if I paired it with Chandra, the one I had earlier, well, this gives me spell power. With the Loa of Travelers, there's pack peddlers. With the Loa of Children, I get extra intelligence. I'm a hunter, so I'm probably not going to use Janalai. Let's go with Akilzan. Now with the Loa of Children one, I get movement speed while in a hub. Well, maybe I don't care about that. I can just go pick something else. There's a lot of different combinations here. Like, look at this one. You gain 100% movement speed for 3 seconds whenever you slay an enemy, but you also take 100% more damage from the next source. Risk reward. If I get the Loa of Growth here with Akilzan, I gain 25% weapon attack speed. If I go to Halazi and go to that exact same one, instead, I get a 5% chance for my next attack to deal 500% damage. Sure, you can min-max this if you want. It's overworld content, so it's not like that important. But like, depending upon what you want to do, if you want to prioritize speed or actual player power, you can do that. Will a lot of people go through this entire expansion not even knowing this is here? Absolutely. You can like completely ignore this system, and I think it's one of its cons, sure. But I think it's an interesting way that Blizzard are trying to experiment with introducing and reintroducing more RPG mechanics into World of Warcraft. It's not like it's the first time they've ever done stuff like this, don't get me wrong, but it's them continuing to lean into it, and I at least appreciate the attempt.
Sinu Amanore.
And here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with what you think needs to be changed going into the future for WoW's endgame. Or what do you think needs to be preserved? I would love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. There is a bit of controversy that we have to talk about. The whole virtual currency Hearthsteel debacle. Did Blizzard go back on their word? Well, want to find out more? Check out this video right here. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.